Alright, so welcome back to OneClass again. My name is Joey. I'm going to be your math teacher for this session. Again, if you're tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for watching. Um, what we're doing here at OneClass is we are providing free online resources, some online material for specific subjects in math and in chemistry, particularly from basically high school math and high school chemistry all the way up to the university level, university and college level for both subjects. So that's kind of what our goal is here at OneClass. And what we're doing here is we are solving, what my job is we're solving chemical problems or solving solutions to math problems and chemical equations for us to kind of better understand and better understand and learn kind of concepts behind those questions. That's kind of my goal for this hour and for this session as well. Again, my name is Joey. I'm currently a secondary school educator in Ontario, and my subjects of interest are mathematics and chemistry as well. Before we get started, I'm just going to give you an overview of this hour. What we're going to do in this hour is we're going to tackle grade 10 math problems. So if you're tuning in from Ontario, we're going through some kind of quadratic equations solutions as well, and problems pertaining to those subjects. So we're going to do grade 10 math. And then if you're tuning in from the US, this will be probably the later half of Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 and the beginning of Algebra 2 here. So without further ado, let's get started. I see Carla in the chat. Says hi. Hello again. Thanks for tuning in again. All right, so let's work on these problems here. So it says, what is the first step to solve this quadratic equation? So we have x squared minus 40 equals 0, and then solve it. Okay, so let's write down here. I have, am I getting this? Okay, I gotta refresh the board here. That's okay. Let me just refresh the board. It sometimes does that. Okay, so I have here, this is, let's give it a sec for it to load. Here we go. We have here this x squared minus 40 equals 0, right? So again, how do we solve this problem when we look at this problem here? X squared minus 40 equals 0. So take a moment to think about this problem here. I only have two terms here, right? Usually our quadratic kind of equation I have here three terms, right? I have x squared plus bx plus x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. But in this case, we only have the x term and the c term here. So how will we solve this equation? How do we solve for x here? So solve for x. So take a moment to think about this problem here, and then we are going to take it up in just a minute here. So it says solve for x here. X squared minus 40 equals 0. And we only have two terms here. So what would this be indicative of here? So what we have here, we have your x squared minus 40. This looks awfully a lot like a difference of squares kind of term here, because we only have two terms here. We have a subtraction or difference here. This looks a lot like a difference of squares problem here. So when we talk about difference of squares, what do we mean by that? Well, we have, it's going to be, I have some term x squared minus some c term squared, right? So this would equal basically x minus c and x plus c here. So if we have here this x squared minus 40, then we can factor this and say this is, okay, this x minus, and then whatever the square root of 40 is. So minus square root of 40, and x here is positive square root of 40 here. And what we can do is we can actually break down the square root of 40 into a simplified radical term, right? So for us to do that, we have root 40. We have square root of 40 here. This equals, root 40 equals, this is, if I divide out root 2 times root 20 here, and then if I divide it again, this would be root 2 times root 2 times root 10 here, which is 2 root 10. So this here, if I were to simplify this out, I would get something like this. It would be a difference of squares equation, right? So x squared minus 40 would equal basically, this is x minus 2 root 10 and x plus 2 root 10. So which equals 0. And then what I can do is I can set this equation to 0, right? I can set this is it gonna write? Oh, there we go. X minus 20 to root 10 equals 0, and then x plus 2 root 10 equals 0, and we're going to realize that here x has two solutions here. X is going to be plus or minus 2 root 10 here. So x will equal plus or minus 2 root 10 here. And this will be our solution for this problem here. As you can see, they also got x equals 2 root 10, but they only actually did one of these problems here. It's only the positive one, and they're missing the negative 2 root 10 here. When you factor this out, you get two roots. You get this one and this one as well. For this one, you get positive, and this one you get negative 2 root 10. So but in this case, they wrote they used the quadratic formula, and then they wrote plus or minus 2 root 10. So this here solution is correct. Answer is plus or minus, basically, plus or minus 2 square root of 10. Solution can also be found using difference of squares, which is what I implemented to get the answer here. So solution here is correct.